What if the most controversial chapter of Meghan Markle's story isn't something proven, but something the internet simply refuses to forget? Because long before she became a duchess, long before palace balconies and royal protocols, there existed a version of her life that now lives only in whispers, blurred screenshots, deleted posts, and carefully worded denials. A version that some commentators claim was quietly erased as her public image ascended, and whether those claims are true or not almost becomes secondary to one unavoidable reality. Once a rumor takes root at the intersection of power, fame, and secrecy, it never fully disappears. Over the past few years, a wave of online speculation has surged again, driven not by new evidence, but by resurfaced commentary, viral clips, and renewed attention to figures like Lady Colin Campbell, whose statements have reignited debates many assumed were long settled. She has suggested, without presenting proof, that Meghan's pre-royal social life involved elite circles far removed from the humanitarian image later presented to the public, and while she has been careful to frame her remarks as commentary rather than accusation, the internet did what it always does: amplified, embellished, and weaponized every word. Suddenly, old rumors about yachts, exclusive parties, and powerful social networks began circulating again, not as established fact, but as questions people felt were never properly addressed. Supporters immediately dismissed these narratives as misogynistic smears recycled to undermine a woman who challenged tradition, while critics argued that the persistence of the rumors pointed to something deeper, not necessarily wrongdoing, but an aggressive effort at image control. And this is where the story becomes less about what happened and more about why so many people believe something was hidden. In celebrity culture, association alone can spark scandal, and commentators note that Meghan's pre-royal years coincided with an era when aspirational Hollywood networking often blurred lines between ambition and access, a world of private events, members-only clubs, and invitation-only gatherings where proximity mattered more than credentials. Some online investigators point to her documented connections to Soho House, an exclusive global private members network known for attracting creatives, entrepreneurs, and elites, and while membership itself is unremarkable in those circles, skeptics argue that it placed her in environments where power, wealth, and opportunity converged in ways the public never fully understood. This is not evidence of impropriety, they insist, but context for why certain rumors gained traction. The controversy intensified when commentators claimed that images from that period had vanished from public view, photos allegedly once accessible that could no longer be found through ordinary searches, leading to speculation about digital scrubbing, a common PR practice in high-profile rebranding. Media analysts caution that disappearance does not equal suppression, that platforms delete content routinely, accounts go private, copyrights are enforced, and memory distorts availability. Yet the perception of erasure proved powerful. Because when people believe something has been hidden, curiosity multiplies. Lady Colin Campbell added fuel by stating she had long been aware of these rumors and suggesting that certain aspects of Meghan's past were incompatible with the image later promoted by palace-aligned media, a claim she framed as cultural observation rather than personal attack, but one that nevertheless struck a nerve. Critics seized on her words, framing Meghan's rise not as destiny, but as deliberate social repositioning, a narrative arc familiar in Hollywood lore, where reinvention is not scandal but strategy. Still, the language used online quickly escalated beyond commentary into insinuation, forcing responsible observers to draw a clear line between unverified claims and documented history. No credible evidence has emerged confirming criminal activity, exploitation, or illicit conduct, and mainstream media outlets have largely avoided amplifying these rumors for that reason. Yet avoidance itself became part of the story, with some viewers interpreting silence as protection rather than caution. The debate spiraled as viral videos claimed that powerful interests had an incentive to preserve Meghan's image at all costs, not because of her past, but because of what she represented, a modern royal narrative appealing to global audiences. Others countered that such theories collapse under scrutiny, arguing that the simplest explanation remains the most likely. Fame magnifies scrutiny, estrangement breeds resentment, and the internet rewards outrage over nuance. But the rumors persisted, resurfacing whenever new commentary appeared, Whenever an old interview was replayed, whenever a critic suggested that Meghan's carefully curated persona left little room for imperfection. What fascinates observers isn't the substance of the claims, but their durability. Why do these stories refuse to die? Media scholars suggest the answer lies in contradiction. Meghan's public messaging emphasizes compassion, authenticity, and transparency, values that invite scrutiny rather than deflect it, and when any public figure champions openness, audiences expect coherence across timelines. Any perceived mismatch, however minor, becomes symbolic. In that sense, the so-called yacht rumors function less as literal allegations and more as metaphors for elite access, ambition, and the uneasy relationship between feminism and power in celebrity culture. To her supporters, Meghan represents a woman punished for navigating spaces men have always occupied freely. To her critics, she embodies calculated image management taken to its extreme. Neither side can fully disprove the other because the debate is fueled by interpretation, not evidence. And so the story lives on, fed by commentary clips, reaction videos, and speculation packaged as investigation, each iteration raising the same unresolved questions. If there was nothing to hide, why does the narrative feel so tightly controlled? And if the narrative is controlled, does that automatically imply deception, or simply self-preservation in a ruthless public arena? The truth may lie somewhere less sensational, but less clickable, that Meghan Markle, like many public figures, curated her image aggressively as her profile rose, trimming away irrelevant chapters to fit a global role, and that those discarded fragments became fertile ground for rumor once family conflict, media polarization, and royal politics collided. In the absence of definitive proof, the controversy becomes a mirror reflecting audience anxieties about authenticity, privilege, and access, and until those anxieties fade, the whispers will continue, not because they are confirmed, but because they are compelling. And as more commentators revisit old footage, quote provocative figures, and frame speculation as revelation, the line between inquiry and insinuation blurs further, ensuring that this chapter of Meghan Markle's story remains perpetually unfinished, suspended between denial and doubt, waiting for a clarity that may never come. As the online discussion deepened, what became increasingly clear was that this wasn't really about any single rumor, photo, or commentator, but about the growing belief among critics that Meghan Markle's public identity had been engineered with almost surgical precision, and once that belief took hold, every unexplained gap became a canvas for speculation. Analysts began pointing out that her rise coincided with a period when celebrity branding shifted from organic storytelling to aggressive narrative management, a time when reputations were no longer shaped slowly, but curated instantly, and in that environment, omissions mattered as much as inclusions. Commentators stressed that elite networking itself is not scandalous, that Hollywood, fashion, and philanthropy all operate on proximity to power, but what unsettled skeptics was the perception that certain associations were quietly minimized or erased once they no longer served the desired image. This perception intensified when Lady Colin Campbell reiterated that her remarks were not about morality, but about mythology, about how fairy tales are constructed by removing inconvenient chapters, and whether those chapters involved yachts, private gatherings, or exclusive clubs was almost irrelevant compared to the implication that a rewrite had occurred. Online commentators seized on this framing, arguing that Meghan's narrative transformation was unusually rapid, from relatively obscure actress to global humanitarian icon in a matter of years, and that such transitions rarely happen without deliberate positioning. Supporters pushed back, noting that ambition in women is too often recast as manipulation, and that male public figures routinely cultivate elite connections without similar scrutiny, a valid critique that complicated the conversation rather than resolving it. Yet the controversy refused to settle because new voices kept reintroducing the same unresolved themes: vanished digital traces, oddly selective memory, and the uncanny consistency with which uncomfortable topics were deflected rather than confronted. Media observers pointed out that when narratives are tightly controlled, they create fragility because any deviation, however small, feels amplified. A deleted photo becomes evidence of erasure. A vague answer becomes proof of avoidance. a refusal to engage becomes interpreted as fear. And in the echo chamber of online commentary, interpretation quickly hardens into conviction. The rumor ecosystem feeds on authority figures who appear confident, and Lady Colin Campbell's long-standing presence in royal commentary gave her words disproportionate weight, even when she framed them carefully as opinion. Reaction channels clipped her statements into sharper, more sensational soundbites, stripping away nuance, and suddenly phrases meant to provoke discussion became treated as conclusions. This transformation from commentary to certainty is where misinformation thrives, yet it also reveals something important about audience psychology. People are less interested in truth than in coherence. They want stories that feel complete, internally consistent, emotionally satisfying, and when official narratives leave emotional gaps, alternative explanations rush in to fill them. Meghan's public emphasis on compassion, empathy, and social justice heightened this dynamic, because values invite scrutiny. Critics argued that when someone positions themselves as morally transparent, any hint of opacity becomes glaring, while supporters countered that demanding total exposure is itself a form of punishment. The tension escalated when commentators began framing the debate as a clash between two archetypes, the empowered modern duchess versus the calculated social climber, and once archetypes replace individuals, nuance disappears. Everything becomes symbolic. Every silence becomes strategy. Every association becomes motive. Media analysts warned that this is how reputational myths form, not through proof, but through repetition. The same claims resurface across platforms, each time with more confidence, until familiarity masquerades as fact. In Meghan's case, the rumors surrounding elite social circles became shorthand for broader resentment toward perceived privilege, a resentment intensified by her marriage into an institution already associated with inherited power. For some critics, questioning her past became a way to challenge the legitimacy of her position, while for supporters, defending her became a stand against entrenched bias. Neither side was really talking about yachts or photos anymore. They were talking about who deserves power and how narratives grant it. The palace's response, or lack thereof, further fueled the fire. Royal institutions are designed to outlast controversy by refusing to engage, but in the digital age, silence no longer neutralizes rumors, it invites interpretation. Commentators speculated that advisors feared dignifying speculation by responding, while critics argued that strategic silence was itself a form of control. Again, both interpretations coexisted, unresolved. As the debate dragged on, a pattern emerged. Every attempt to debunk the rumors strengthened them, and every attempt to amplify them exposed their lack of concrete evidence. This paradox kept audiences hooked, suspended between skepticism and suspicion. Observers noted that the story's endurance was less about Meghan Markle as a person and more about the cultural moment she occupies, a moment where celebrity narratives are mistrusted by default and authenticity is both demanded and punished. In that environment, even unproven claims feel plausible because institutions themselves feel opaque. The rumors didn't need to be true to feel believable. They only needed to align with existing distrust of power structures. And so the conversation evolved again, away from the specifics of who attended which event or who appeared in which photo, toward a larger, more unsettling question. If modern fame is built on controlled storytelling, how can audiences ever distinguish between reinvention and erasure? That question lingered like static beneath every clip, every reaction, every commentary video, ensuring that the controversy remained alive, not because of new revelations, but because of unresolved doubt. And just when fatigue threatened to dull interest, another layer emerged, not a new allegation, but renewed focus on how quickly certain stories are labeled dangerous or off-limits, a designation that paradoxically increases their allure. Because in the attention economy, forbidden narratives carry more weight than proven ones. And as long as powerful figures, commentators, and institutions continue to circle this story without closing it, the speculation will persist, reshaping itself with each retelling, waiting for a definitive moment that may never arrive, yet promising one just around the corner. By the time the discussion reached its most volatile phase, It was no longer confined to royal watch corners of the internet, but had spilled into mainstream commentary, reaction panels, and late-night opinion segments, where the real story shifted from what might have happened in the past to why the present felt so combustible. Media analysts began asking a sharper question: why do certain rumors gain traction while others evaporate instantly? The answer, many suggested, lies in narrative appetite. Audiences are conditioned to expect contradiction in public figures who occupy moral high ground, and when a persona is built on virtue, the hunger to uncover hypocrisy intensifies. In Meghan Markle's case, critics argued that her messaging around transparency and authenticity clashed with what they perceived as unanswered questions about her earlier social circles, while supporters countered that the demand for total disclosure was itself rooted in a culture that punishes women, particularly women who rise quickly and visibly. This push and pull created a feedback loop where every rebuttal became further proof to skeptics and every accusation became further evidence of harassment to defenders. Commentators noted that the internet doesn't function like a courtroom. It operates like a theater, rewarding confidence over caution and spectacle over sourcing. Into that environment stepped long-form reaction creators who framed the controversy as a slow-burn thriller, emphasizing ominous pauses, loaded phrasing, and rhetorical questions that never required answers. The result was a sense that something enormous was always about to drop, even when nothing new actually emerged. This perpetual, almost revelation kept audiences engaged, scrolling, sharing, speculating. Observers highlighted how older interviews, forgotten photos, and vague third-party anecdotes were stitched together into sprawling narratives that felt cohesive not because they were proven, but because they were emotionally consistent. Each retelling sharpened the edges, stripping away disclaimers until speculation sounded declarative. Meanwhile, institutional silence continued to function as a Rorschach test, interpreted as dignity by some, concealment by others. The absence of official clarification allowed independent commentators to become de facto narrators, shaping perception in real time. Cultural critics warned that this dynamic reflects a broader crisis of trust, where audiences assume that truth is always hidden behind PR, and therefore anything unverified feels potentially authentic. In that climate, even explicit reminders that claims are unproven fail to neutralize their impact because suspicion itself has become persuasive. The conversation took on a darker tone when participants began framing the debate as a reckoning, not with one individual, but with celebrity myth-making as a whole. Was Meghan Markle an example of strategic self-invention, or was she simply being punished for refusing to conform to expectations placed on her? The question fractured audiences along ideological lines, ensuring that no resolution could satisfy everyone. And that unresolved tension became the story's fuel. As weeks passed, the narrative hardened into camps, each reinforcing its own version of events through selective emphasis and repetition. Media literacy experts pointed out that once a narrative reaches this stage, correction becomes nearly impossible because belief has shifted from evidence to identity. What you think about the story becomes a reflection of who you are, what you distrust, and which institutions you resent. In that sense, the controversy ceased to be about Meghan Markle altogether. She became a symbol onto which broader anxieties about power, privilege, gender, and media manipulation were projected. And symbols don't get cleared. They get argued over indefinitely. The most striking aspect of the entire saga was how predictably it followed the arc of modern scandal: insinuation, amplification, polarization, monetization, exhaustion, then revival under a slightly altered frame. Each cycle promised closure and delivered only more questions. As long as creators continued hinting at suppressed truths and unseen evidence, audiences remained hooked, waiting for a definitive reveal that might never come. And perhaps that was the final irony. In a media ecosystem obsessed with exposure, the most powerful force wasn't proof, but anticipation. The idea that something was being hidden mattered more than whether it actually was. And until that tension dissolves, whether through confirmation, contradiction, or collective fatigue, the story will remain suspended in that uncomfortable space between rumor and belief, endlessly replayed, endlessly reframed, and endlessly profitable for those who know how to keep the mystery alive.